Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible to all? Okay. So today we start with understanding static variables and static methods. Okay. So let's get ready. Okay. So in case of any questions, you can ask. So today we'll understand what are static variables and static methods. Okay. So first thing, whenever I'm telling static, it belongs to class. So actually, they are property of class. So there are two things here. One is class, one is object. So whenever we are talking about static entities, they belong to class. Okay. So if I'm telling class static variable, it means this variable belongs to class, not to the object. Okay. And once it is belonging to class, it means that no matter how many objects I'm creating of that class, it is that variable is independent of all the objects which are there. Okay. Now, when how to access those variables and static entities. So we can access these static entities before creation of any object also. Okay, so what is the process is, if I want to access any method or variable from the class, the first thing we do is we create object of that class, and with the help of object we use to access uh, the variables and methods of that particular class. But in case of static entities, there is no need of creating any object to access the variables and methods. All right. To create static entities, we need static keywords. So we have to use static keywords to create static variables or static methods. Okay. Now, static members, how to access static members, because we know that to access members we need to create objects. So here I'm telling that we don't have to create any object to access this static entity. Then the question is how to access those variables and methods. Okay. So since we know that before creating any object, what we do is we create class, and before any object of its class, this variables are existing before creation of any object of that particular class, and we can access those variables without any reference variables of without any reference of object. So all are saying the same thing. We don't have to create object to access static entities. Okay, so we can create static methods and static variables. Now, you might be knowing that there is this method main which we use to create, and this is of type static, because how we define main variable in Java program, we write public and then static. So what static, how uh, main method is considered as static, because uh, we are using this keyword in front of it. Now, why we want to create main as a static method? Because to run this method, okay, if I want to run main method, then what first thing we do is we just simply run our program. Okay, it's not like that we will first create object of main class and then we are going to call main method. Okay, so what is the process? We will uh, run main method without creating any object of main class. Okay, so because of this constraint, we don't want to create any object of main class to run main method. Okay, so to satisfy this constraint, what we are doing is we are creating main as a static method. All right. So this we are similarly we have static variables also. So one thing about static variables are they are global variables. So it means they are available to all the methods of that specific class. Okay, and whatever object I will create, number of objects I will create, all will share the same copy. Okay, so it's not like that I'm creating separate copy for separate objects. There is only one single copy available, and that single copy is accessible to all the objects. Okay, so basically there is no duplication here. Only one single copy is there, and that we will use. That will be referred to all the objects. Similar to static variable, we have static method. Okay, so only call static method, and the second point is important here. It is going to access static data only. So if I'm creating static method, the static method will only access and manipulate static data. So I cannot use an instance variable in the static method. Okay, and next is we are you might be knowing this keyword, so we don't have to use this to refer any static members of a class. Okay, similar to this, we have super keywords, which you will learn later when we understand the inheritance. Okay, so we don't have to use this or super to refer any static members of the class. Okay, so this is about static thing. So it belongs to class. We have to use static keywords. Okay, main is the method which you are already knowing, which is a static kind of method. Okay, we can have static variable, we can have static method. If we are creating static variable, that is global, it means it is available to all the methods, and there is only one copy available for that specific variable. Okay, and about static method, we have to call static method with the help of classes. Okay, and if I'm creating static method, it will only include static variables. Okay, and this static things are not referred with the help of this or super keyword. Okay, any question here from this previous slide? Okay, is there any question from here? You want more explanation? Okay, if you want to ask anything specific from this slide about static, we will do one program. So I guess we'll take questions after finishing that program. Okay. So next is how to create static variable. So the syntax is given. First, you have to write static keyword. Okay. Then you define your data type and then write name of variable. Okay. For example, I want to create a variable total, which is of type integer. Okay. And I want this variable to be created as static. Okay. So this is a total variable with static type. If I want to access any method, so since we don't have any object of that class, we will use class name to run that method. Okay, so we'll write class name and then dot and the name of method. Okay. For example, if I want to create a method to check the value of total, I created a method called check total. Okay, and I want to run it, and this check total method is part of student class. So to run this method, I'm going to use student dot check total. Okay. So here the difference is I'm not creating object of class student, I'm directly accessing check total method. Okay. Similarly, if I want to access any variable, so I will write class name and then dot and the variable name. Okay. For example, if I want to access student total variable value, then I will write student and then dot and the variable name. Okay. Similar to the variables and method, I can create static block. Okay. We'll see how to do it in the program. Whenever I'm creating static block, what will happen is once my class is loaded in the memory, so this is the first thing which is going to run. Okay, so it will run one time, and before anything. So it's like once the process of class loading is done, first thing which will run from your class is the static block. Okay, the syntax, I guess I given. Okay, so it is run when your class is loaded. The keyword is static, and within the bracket, I will write code for it. Okay. Things to remember: only one copy of variable is there. That same copy is shared to all the objects. Okay. All the objects will get the updated data. It means that if there is only one copy, I will update the object. What will happen? Everyone will get the latest updated copy. Okay. So this is about static thing. Next, we do code to understand everything, and then we'll come back to slide and just repeat everything again in case any difficulties to understand. Right. So we will modify a student program which we have written previously. So for I guess student is the name of class. So I'll open. This is student only, no? Yeah, student info. Let's check it. Mhm. So we have this class with us. So we are using scanner class here to. Okay. Okay. So I guess we can use this program to implement static things. Okay. So just to simplify everything, what we are going to do is we have copy of this or so, we'll modify student in only. Okay, so we will modify this program to understand static variables. Okay, so if you don't want to get distracted, what we okay, let's I guess this program is clear to all. No, here we have this class called student info. Okay, with this four variable name to store name of student, variable roll number to store roll number. There is this variable marks and there's this variable grade. So all are instance variable of a class of type non-static. Then here we have this constructor student info. Okay, and there is this method set data and calculate grade method, and then get data to display all the values. And this is my main class. In the main class, what we are doing is we are creating object of scanner class, and we are accepting all the values. Then there is this object of class student info. We are using the student info class. So I don't need to create copy here. I don't want copy of anything. So I'll just remove all the unnecessary things from here. Okay, so students, okay, I don't want all this thing. So I just removed all the unnecessary things. So this is our simple program. We are accepting input from user, name and roll number, and then here we are calling this constructor to set values. Okay, and then we are displaying it. Fine. So what next I'm going to do is I want to create a static variable. So let's create this static variable. So on the top, first thing I will create a static variable with the name total. So I will write this static keyword, and this is of type integer, and name of this variable is total. Okay. So I created this new variable total here, which is of static type. All right. Now what I'm going to do is whenever this constructor is called, it means I'm creating an object. So whenever this object is called, okay, after setting all these values, what I'm going to do is I will increase the value of total by 1. Well, right, total plus plus. Okay, so this here. So every time I create a new object, what will happen? The value of total is getting incremented. Fine. And next, what we do is in the main class, before creating anything, okay, what we do is we'll print the value of total. Okay, and here I will display value of total. Okay, now how to do it? To display this value, what I want is I want name of class. So I don't know the name of object, but I know what is name of my class. So my name of my class is student info, correct? So I will use this class to call total variable. Okay, so student info is class. From this class, I want variable total value. Okay, this part is clear what I'm doing here. So we did two changes here. First thing, we created this variable total, which is of type static. Okay. Second thing, what we did is we increased the value of total whenever constructor of student info is called. Okay. And then what we are doing is we are printing the value of total. So once one value we will print. Oh, sorry, there is a mistake. Total. So one value will print before creating any object. And second thing, what we are going to do is I'll print the same line after creating object. So where we are creating the object. So here, this is the line where we are creating object of class student info. So after that, I will print the same statement. Okay. So first we are printing the value of total before creating a new object. Secondly, we are printing value of total after creating object. Okay. So this is clear. Any question here? Sorry. Okay. Simple modification. We did two things. We created a static variable and we are printing it in the main function. Okay. We'll see its advantage later. But this part is clear to all. How to create a static variable and how to print its value in the main class. Clear? Okay, so let's save this file, compile our code. This class name is student only. Main class is student in. Okay, so no error. Joel said the total equal to 0. Okay, we have to assign. But once we create constructor, what will happen is it will first allocate value 0 to variable total. Okay, and then increase by 1. Okay. Anyways, I guess static variables get initialized with 0 value if we are not doing any initialization. Okay, so let's see what happens next. Okay, so first line is printed here. Before creating any object, what we did is we called and displayed the value of variable total. Okay, so this 0 is representing value of variable total. Okay, so this we cannot do for any other variable of this class. Right? So if I print name or something, it will give me error before if I'm calling if I'm printing that variable before creation of object. Okay, if you want, we'll test that. So we'll give some name here, some roll number. Okay. So after that, after this two information, what will happen? Again, we are creating object. I mean, not again. We are creating object of the class student info for the first time. And whenever we create object, what will happen? The value of total will get incremented by one. Okay, and that's how we are getting the value of total as one. Okay, is this thing clear? What we do is to understand better, we'll create one more object. Okay, so student info s1. Okay, so let's so I will create one more object with the name s2. Okay, let's take the same values. We are not worried about the values, so we'll take same values here. And we'll print the student details. Okay. So all those commented lines, don't worry about them. Here we'll print S2 data. Okay, so both the data are same. We are not concerned about displaying data. So if you want, we can remove this line also, because we are just taking values of this static variable. Okay, so here we are concerned with how the value of total is getting changed. Okay, so I'll give some name and roll number. I don't know roll number also. Okay, so this is how the modification is happening. This variable is 0 here. Here is this variable 1, and next time 2. So as I'm creating any object, okay, roll number 50, I'll remember it. Okay, so the thing here is whenever the object is created, since I'm modifying value of total, what will happen? I will get updated value of total whenever I'm referring. Okay. Now the problem is, if suppose somebody here is accessing this total variable. Okay, so and it's not like that you have to call. If I have object, I can use this object to call the static member. So I can use s. Let's use regular way. Then I'll explain. So what we can do here is I can change this value, some random value here. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm simply modifying this total value here. Right. So initially the value is 0. After creation of object s1, what will happen? The value is 1. After that, what will happen? I'm changing this value to 56, and then again I'm creating this object. What will happen? Total plus plus will happen, and the output will be 57. Okay, understood? Okay, everybody understood this part? What I'm doing? So let's compile this, run this. I have to give name. Okay, so I know this time roll number is 50. Okay, so this time the value is 0 here. Later, once this first object is created, I mean the value is incremented by 1. After that, what I did is I changed this value of total to 56, and then once the new object is created, that 56 value is incremented and the value is changed to 57. Okay, this part is clear. What I wanted to explain, how to access and modify the value. Any question here? No. So what I want is, I don't want this thing to happen. Okay, I don't want someone randomly go and modify total variable. Okay, I want this thing to happen systematically only. So I just only want whenever the new object is created, then only the value will get modified. Okay. So for that, what I will do is I will make this variable private static. Is my screen visible to all? Screen is visible. Yes. Okay. Fine. So here I'll write private. Okay. So I made this a variable as private so that I don't want unnecessary access outside from this class. Okay. I just want to secure it. Okay. So now if I compile my code, what will happen is get lot of errors. Okay. So it is telling that now I cannot use this strategy. Okay. I cannot directly call total method from class name. I cannot call like this. Okay. So I just wanted to avoid this modification that no one should go and modify, I mean, like that. But what is happening is now I cannot use this also to directly print the value. Can use final keyword before static also. Yes. Okay. So next part is understanding final. So after static, we'll learn about final only. Okay. So final after static, next part is understanding how final. What do you mean by final and how final works? All right. So static is something different. Final is something different. All right. So what next we can do is to access now. I mean, now I can't run this line. This we cannot use in our code. Uh, I mean, this is also not possible to use because I made a private variable. So can anyone suggest me what else we can do if I want to check the value of total? If my variable is private, now I cannot use directly from the class name. Okay. So how to display the value of variable total? Because I cannot directly print it. So if I want to print like that, the previous approach if I follow, so if I simply want to print, what will happen? My compiler will still give error that now this is not allowed. Okay, so I cannot use this strategy now to print the value of variable. So what else we can do? If the variable is private, to access private members of a class, what we do is we create a proper interface to access that data. Okay. Next, we create a method to print the value of variable total. Okay. So this we can do by writing inside display method. So if I want now, so there is this display get data method. So here I can print value of total also. So here I'll print total. Okay. Now if I run my code, all right, I'm not seeing. Now I cannot use this two lines, correct? So now this is not possible. I cannot directly access. So I can now access with the help of display method, I guess. Okay, so now if I enter any name, okay, I'm not calling get data only. Uh, uh, I want to display the values. Mm, get data for yeah. Okay. Yes, for private variables, we use setter and getter. So we have this get data get, because we are setting this variable value incremental order. So I just want to print. Okay, so here the value of total is printed. Total is equal to 1, total equal to 2. So I can display this value like that. But the problem here is what what to do if I want to check this value before creating any object. Okay, because to run this get data method, I have to first create object of class. Correct. And the property of static is you can use this methods and you can use this variable before creation of classes also. Before creation of objects also. Okay. So to access values of static data before creation of any object, what you have to do is you have to create a static method. Okay. So next we create static method only to print value of total. Okay. So I'm not interested in this way of printing value of total. Okay, because I know that this won't help me. Actually exploiting all the features of static things. Okay, so what I want is I want to access value of total before creation of any object. Okay, and if I write this thing into get data method, then the restriction is there. To access get data method, you have to create object of a class. Okay, and then only you can access this value. So next we create one more method, but this time this method is static method. Okay, so I will create this method static. This is just to check total, and the return type is integer. Okay, so this is a static method to check the value of total. Okay, I don't want any input here. Simply this method will return value of total. Okay, this is clear. So here I created a method with the name check total. What this method will do, it will return me value of total. So its return type is integer, and I want to access this variable in such this method in such a way that I can run this method before creation of any object. So that's why we created it as a static method. Okay. By default, all the methods are non-static, all the variables are non-static. If you want to make them static, you have to write static keyword in front of them. Okay, this part is clear. So now next we call check total method. Okay. So now I can call. So here we were printing. So before creation of any object. Okay. So it's like my program is starting. Before creation of any object, what I want is I want to print this value. So I can use this println statement. Okay. But this time I'm not directly accessing variable. Instead, this time I'm calling method. Okay. Name of my method is check total. And this is the method. So this part is here. Okay. So instead of directly accessing variable, now I have this interface, this method to go and set the value of total. Okay, and I can print here. Similarly, we can write on other places also. Copy this line from here. So we can simply copy and paste in place of total. So directly, instead of directly accessing variable, we are calling this method. Okay. So now I solved my problem. There is no unnecessary modifications also happening, and all three places are modified the value. This part is clear to all. Any question, any confusion? Just don't say commented lines. All the lines which are in colored are the active part. Okay, now let's run. Okay, so now there is no problem. I'm accessing value of total before creation of object, after creating object, and I'm not able to modify this variable from uh, outside of this class. This value will get modified the way I had planned. Okay, yes, and now what's your roll number? Okay, so here initially I printed the value 0. Later, what happened is once the object there is no object, so this value is 0. After that, what happened is once I created the object, the value is getting incremented by 1. So total number of students are 1. Similarly, 2. Likewise, now if I create n number of objects, what will happen? The value will get updated. Okay. This part is clear. How to access static variables and how to write static methods, how to call static methods. Yes. Okay. Now, what else we can do is, let's suppose here I have this object with the name S1. Okay. Hmm. So I created object S1. Now I'm creating displaying its variable. Secondly, I'm creating object S2. Okay. Then here, what I will do is I will call check total method, but this time with the object S1. Now, can you guess what output will come? Okay. There is this object S1 which I created. Then I'm printing its value. Okay. After printing value, I'm creating one more object with the name is 2. Okay. Then what I'm doing is I'm calling check total method, but this time from the object S1. Okay. Here displaying variables are not, I mean, not our focus right now, so I can comment them. So this program will print just one line. Okay, and that is the total number of students, then colon, and then I'm calling check total method from the object S1. Can you guess what output will come? I mean, I'm just concerned with the number of variable total. What value will get displayed if I run this line? So if you're confused, just remove this part. Okay, so only this 3 lines of code are there in my program. Okay, right now above part is only to take input. Any guesses? One. Okay, let's check. It will give two no matter which variable we call static method. Okay. Okay, so let's check. So I'm saving it. I'll enter name. So Pranav is correct. The output is true. So while explaining theoretical part, in the slides I said there is no copy. Okay, so at the moment, if you want to try to access that static variable, what you are going to get, you are going to get the latest value, the updated value. Okay, so there is no copy. I mean, there is no separate copy for object S1 or for object S2. Okay, so there is only single value for variable total. There is only one variable total. If you access that variable, no matter from where, you are going to get the latest value. Okay, so this part is clear. So the static things are more useful when you are writing program for operating system, and where you want to access the recent resource or latest updated value of any variable. Okay, or if you want to writing some program where all the objects should refer the current value. Okay, so it's not like that कि if there is student one, अगर वो check करेगा class में कितने total है तो उसको लगेगा एक ही student है, and then if the student two is there, it will say there are two students. So for all the students, the total value of or total number of students are same. Okay, so this part is clear to all. Yes, no. I mean, those who are telling one, Joel and Nikhil. So is this thing clear? Why the value is two now? Okay. What else we can test is instead. Okay. So one thing I said is the static method can only use static variables. Okay, so let's instead of returning a total, I can return. I have a roll number. Roll number is also integer. So instead of total, I want to return roll number. Okay. So now what will happen? While compiling only, I've not executed my code, but while compiling only, my compiler knows that if something is static, then I cannot use. It is like a non-static things cannot be used in statical manner. So the error is clearly telling me that there is this non-static variable with the name roll number. Okay, so there is this non-static variable with the name roll number, and it cannot be referenced from a static context. So I cannot use it as a static variable. Okay, so static methods can only use static variables. Okay, so this part is clear. Okay, now the last part which is left is about the static block. Okay, now how to create a static block? Where to write? Okay, so I can write anywhere static block, no matter. So how to create a static block? I have to write static keyword. Okay, and this brackets are there. Now, what is the role of static? Whenever your class is loaded, this is the first thing which will run. Okay, so here we can write anything. I mean, I want this thing to happen whenever class is loaded. Some prerequisite if you want to complete before your classes. I mean, before you run your program, so that you can put inside static block. So since we don't have anything to do here, what we can do is we can print some line here. Okay, because we just want to test when this code will run. Okay, so here I will write this will run in the beginning. Okay, so this is the first line which I expect in my output. Okay, so no matter where I put this thing, I'm not calling also anywhere in my main function. I'm not calling this block. Okay, so there is no change in main program. What I did is I just changed some part of code in student info. Okay, let's save this thing and check. I'll compile my code. No error. Run. So before, this line is printed. I'm not giving any input because here our aim is to check when the static block will run. So this will run in the beginning. Okay, so you can open some files, you can lock some database, something like that you can do. Okay, so how to use static block? When, I'm just explaining how to use them, when and where to use that you think as per your application. Keep some application in your mind and try to map it where you can utilize this feature. All right, so this part is clear. Any confusion or any question? Yes, no. Yeah, no clear, not clear. You want me to explain anything in, or you want to do some experiment here? You want to change something and check things are fully clear to all. There is no confusion. What else we can do? I mean, most of the things are done. So if you have any question, then ask. If you want, I'll repeat the points of static again so that it will be more sense. It will make more sense to you. So first thing, they belong to classes. They are independent of any object. So they don't belong to objects at all. But you can access those data from the object. Okay. These values you can access before creation of any object. Okay. We will use the static keyword to make something in static context. Okay. So without writing static, everything is by default non-static. Static members are accessed. Uh, how we are accessing static members before construction of any object. Okay, without reference to any object. Okay, so I don't want any reference of any object. Okay, although we can use reference variables, but objects, but it is not compulsorily applicable here. We can create static methods, static variables, as well as static blocks. Main is the method which you know right now. Then you can call this thing before creation of any object. If we have static variable, these are global things. Global means what? I can access from anywhere. Okay, any method can access that value, no matter where I'm creating static variable. All instances will share same copy. So no matter I'm calling from S1 or S2, I'll get the same result. Okay, so no copy is created, only single. I mean, no copy means there is no duplication actually. There is only single copy available. Static methods, you call only static methods with the static keyword. You can access static data. I mean, static methods can only access static data, and I mean, there is no need of writing because there is only one copy. So this is super उसका कुछ कर नहीं सकता. Then this is the way we use everything. Okay. So any confusion or any question here about static? Yes, no. I know the answer is clear. You know everything. So my question here is, can you tell me any static method which you had used in your program, right? Matlab before that, can you name some static methods apart from main? Apart from main, did you use any static method in your program? Name some static methods which you already use, which you already know. If you don't know, then say no. No problem. If you say no, then only I will tell. If you know any method, then name it. Don't go and search for Google. You search in your brain that you had used a lot of inbuilt methods. Can you name some static methods? No? I think counters. No. Okay. So I'll tell you. Anyone else? Array initialization. Uh, nah. I'm asking for method, inbuilt method, which is of type static. हमने यूज किया है ऑलरेडी प्रीवियस प्रोग्राम्स में. No. Percent. Okay, Yogesh is correct. So parse int is the method which is static. Println is also static method. So how to check the method is static or not? You have to check how you are calling that method. Now, in order to call println method, I'm not creating any object of the class where println belongs. Okay, it's not I'm creating object of class system and then calling println method. To call next line, what I did is to call next line method. What I did is I first created object of class scanner, and with the help of this object only I can call next line. If I write scanner here, okay, then it will give me error because the next line method is non-static method. Okay, but here println, for println, what I'm doing is I'm not creating an object of this class, and still I'm able to call. So println is static method. Parse int, similarly we call parse int. How we call parse int? Anybody remember the syntax? How we are calling parse int? Yes, if you want to check, if I modify this, then my code will give me error. Okay, random value. So if I again compile my code, since I have changed it to scanner, okay, so spelling is correct, so there is no spelling mistake here. It is telling that next line method. It is again telling me that this thing is non-static. You cannot access this thing in a static context. Okay, so clearly print. This next line is non-static method. Okay, but how we call parse int? To call parse int, the syntax is I will write here. Let's suppose I have some integer variable a, okay, and I'm getting value in the string format, okay, and I want to convert it. So I will write integer dot parse int, and here I will pass that string value variable, okay, some str, okay, and I can give str star. Okay, so there is a string variable str. This will have some number 10. Okay, but this is not integer. It is in the form of string. Okay, so here how I'm calling parse int. I'm calling parse int directly from the class name. I'm not creating object of class integer here. Correct? So parse int is static type of method. Okay, so let's check if this thing works. I changed that part now, which I modified scanner wala. Huh. Okay, so some names. Okay, I'm not printing that value anywhere. Okay, but still this code is running. There is no error. अगर error होता तो Java would have informed us. So here the thing which you have to understand is you already used static variables and methods. Okay, just like for this thing out. So what about out? Out is static or non-static? System dot out, or if I'm talking about this in. So in and out, they are static or non-static? Static. Okay. So in and out, you can think of there are two variables which are pointing. In is pointing for standard input device, so it will store address of some input device of your keyboard, and out is storing address for your display device. Okay, so whenever I'm telling system.out, it means it is referring to some your display device ka address. Okay, and for that I don't want to create object of it. So out is static, println is static, parse int is static. Okay, next line or next int is not a static variable. Okay, so I guess this part is clear. Any confusion or any question, then ask me. Okay, so I'll mark attendance in case you don't have any questions. This updated thing is asking. Sir, is in out objects of system class? Yes, they are not objects. They are kind of variables, reference variables. You know now how to create object. To create object, you have to follow always the method prescribed to you. So how to create object of a class? You have to write class name, then object name, then equal to, then new, and then the constructor of class. So clearly, in and out is not. I mean, we are not. We have not created all these things. Okay, so in and out is, you can think of, they are kind of a variable. In is storing address of your keyboard, and out is storing address of your display device. Okay, and why we want system.in or system.out? Because we have a lot of input and output devices. So whenever I'm printing something, my system would confuse where to give the output in which device. Okay, so that's how we are writing system.out, telling that you have to print the statement where on your standard output device. Okay, and that thing is hard coded. Same thing, to take input, we are writing system.in, because system.in is telling us that the input is coming from keyboard. Okay, and not from mouse or any other device which I connected. All right, anything else? Which next int? We are not calling next int with class name. We are using object here now. To call next int, I need object, scanner class object. Previously we checked, no? If I write scanner here, it will give me error. Okay, I cannot call next int in static context. Okay, so this is not allowed. To run next int method, you have to create object of class scanner. Okay, कहाँ पे create किया हमने? यहाँ पे. Okay, so first we have to create object of class scanner, and then only we can access next int method. Okay. Anything else? We have still 1 minute left. If you have any other question, then ask. Okay. So no problem about static. So next time we'll learn about final, how final method work. Okay. Not final method. It is it's like a keyword, just like static. It is keyword given